Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chapter 2. When Young started secondary school in Basel, he began to be aware of the wealth gaps between his family and those of his peers. This made him shy, timid, and neurosis. This part of Young's experience reminds me of the ubiquitousness of social comparison, and great men like Carl Jung were not exempted. You might know that in sociology there is a theory called social comparison theory, which was first proposed in 1954 by psychologist Leon Festinger. The theory suggests that people make all kinds of judgments about themselves, and one of the key ways that we do this is through social comparison, or analyzing the self in relation to others. So apparently, this is part of our human nature. I think we just need to be aware of this human nature, and hopefully, the awareness can help us reduce the undesirable effects of social comparison. Failed school subjects. In school, Young failed at several subjects, among which he provided most vivid descriptions for math and drawing. I'm going to have a bit of elaborated explanations here because I feel that we can learn a lot from Young's experience. In terms of math, first, Young could not grasp the meaning of numbers. In his words, he can understand flowers, animals, and fossils, but what is one, two, or three? Is it one flower or two animals or three fossils? His teacher took pains to explain to him that numbers are quantities and math is a system of abbreviations. That helped Young. But Young has also had great difficulty in accepting basic logics underlying math. For example, he struggled with the simple equation such as if A equals to B and B equals to C, then A equals to C. His argument is that he can understand A equals to A and B equals to B, but he could not accept A equals to B because by default A means something other than B, and being different could therefore not be equal. He even suggests that A equals to B seems like a lie or a fraud. He goes on to say that if A equals to B, then sun equals to moon. So he expressed his frustration as moral outrage, which to me is intriguing because math is not a subject that one learns with morality in mind. Math is a system of abbreviation and abstract with no real entities in it. But his interest is exactly on real entity itself with its idiosyncrasies, thus cannot be abstracted into mere quantity. He also was hopeless in drawing. He was exempted from drawing class on the grounds of utter incapacity. His description of his incapacity was also interesting. He could only draw what stirred his imagination, but he was forced to copy prints of Greek gods with sightless eyes, and when that would not go properly, the teacher thought he needed something more naturalistic and set before him the picture of a goat's head. He failed completely, and that was the end of his drawing classes. His experience might be useful for us and maybe for parents as well. For example, although Young was not good at drawing in his school years, we know that he produced extraordinary amount of artwork in his Red Book. School education tends to be standardized to have, high efficiency, but the system might not work for some children because not everyone can adapt to the standardized system. But it does not mean that those children have no talent. As parents, which I am, we may not change the school system, but we can change our own attitudes and provide more flexible experience for our children in home environment, if possible. A fateful year when he was 12. One day he was waiting for a classmate to go home with after school. Another boy shoved him that knocked him off his feet and he fell, striking his head against the curbstone so hard that he almost lost consciousness. From then on, he began to have fainting spells whenever he had to return to school. so he stayed at home for 6 months, which he rather enjoyed. However, the turning point came when one day he overheard a conversation between his father and his father's friend. His father expressed despair over his condition and future. "I have lost what little I had, and what will become of the boy if he cannot earn his own living?" From that moment on, Yang said, he became a serious child. He learned to overcome his fainting fits with sheer will, and that experience taught Yang what a neurosis is. Since then, he worked hard at school. The next memorable experience is the experience of self. On my way to school, when suddenly for a single moment I had the overwhelming impression of having just emerged from dense cloud, I knew all at once, now I am myself. It was as if a wall of mist were at my back, and behind that wall there was not yet an I. But at this moment I came upon myself. Previously I had existed too, but everything had merely happened to me. Now I happened to myself. Now I know I am myself now. Now I exist. Previously I had been willed to do this and that. Now I will. Two personalities. During his holidays with his friends, he discovered that he had two personalities. He's a school-age boy, which is his personality 1. He's also an old man, an important, a high authority figure of the 18th century, which is his personality 2. Jung learned to be between the two personalities and allow personality 1 to lead his normal life, whereas allow his personality 2 to emerge from time to time. The two personalities have different interests. Personality 1 likes all topics about science, and personality 2 is interested in religions. Religion. Chapter 2 has nearly 70 pages, and half of them was about Jung's religious belief. I hope that I can sum it up nicely here. Jung had a strong connection with God, so strong that he felt God did not need proof, as if he did not have to prove that his mother was his mother. Therefore, he was confused why so many philosophers had to seek proof of God. He strongly disagrees with conventional characterization of God, such as that God is good and benign. His argument is straightforward. If that were true, where devil comes from? After all, if God was the creator of all, then he is the creator of devil. Therefore, his conclusion is that God is not purely good. God is capable of being cruel and evil. He also disagrees that the general approach to religion is simply to believe, not to reason. He argues that a belief without reason is not a true belief because sooner or later that belief without reason would collapse. To reason, to believe, is to confront with what reasoning will bring to one's attention, such as that God is not perfect or benign, but capable of being cruel and evil. Only by confronting with the reasoning and accept what it leads to will one be embraced with the grace of God. The grace of God is going to be discussed more in the later chapters. The grace of God is also one of the central themes of many self-help books, such as Scott Peck's The Road Less Traveled and Jordan Peterson's The 12 Rules of Life. I hope we will have more opportunities to discuss them in the future. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. I hope you find something interesting. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to post. I look forward to seeing you next time.